I wanted to do a quick travel tips video, just stuff I encountered this last time at the airport. I'm not a total experienced travel, but I'm no longer a novice. So I thought I would just pass on some information. It might help some of the younger people or newer travelers. So one thing as far as knowing your gate, and if your gate changed, there's multiple ways to check that. There's the monitors that are on the walls, and if you don't want to get up every little bit to check the monitor, also the app for the airline. I use United when I fly United. Their app is really good to keep me updated on the gate. And then in Colorado, one of the gate agents told me to just Google the airline, and for United, it's UA and then the flight number, and that will keep you updated. He said that's even kept and it's updated more often than the app is. So that's just one trick. And the ticket, of course, is going to say your gate, but it can change. And then I've had some tickets where my second leg of my journey, they had its gate not assigned. The other way I check is I also do the free app that it's called FlyAware or FlightWatch. There's several different ones. I use the free one, and I've used them both at different times just to compare and see if they were right. So, and I plug in my flight when I first start, so I don't have to worry about internet. And I have it. And I also like to be watching that from my first flight to my second flight when I'm off to see how far I'm going to have to go and kind of plan. And sometimes I look at maps to have an idea how far away it is. And then the next thing, where there was a baggage tag issue when I was at the airport. This poor young girl was scared to death. I should have gone and talked to her, but I didn't. I was trying to mind my business. She brought we were at the gate, so you'd gone through security, and she had an extra bag tag, and she was asking the gate agent about it. And the gate agent scared this poor girl to death and told her that her luggage was probably going to be lost because it should have gone on her luggage. They're not going to take a bag without putting a bag tag on it. For security purposes, they want to weigh it. They want to make sure the names match up. So I don't think that's what happened. What I think happened was what happened to me as a new traveler is I thought I had to claim my carry-ons as a bag. And so I just think the poor girl overpaid. So I think that's all that happened. But again, I try to mind my business. I didn't visit with her, but you don't need bag tags, and you do not need to pay for your carry-ons. However, I did notice they're much stricter about size and number now. So that was just on that. And then I had another lady I ran into that and I've done this a couple times trying to save money. Ticket prices can vary based on if you have a carry-on or not. And they are super strict at the gates. And if you get caught with more carry-ons or a carry-on and it wasn't on your ticket, they'll make you pay at the gate. And sometimes where it could have cost you $30 to $40, maybe $50 to check in downstairs, they're going to charge you $100 at the gate, or they could, depending on the airline and the ticket. It can definitely vary. And so I was showing her that each ticket has the box clicked on how many bags you can have. And some of those tickets cannot be changed when you check in. That's what I ran into. I don't know what airline it was because I've used different ones. But the gate, when I was getting the ticket agent at the very downstairs before you go through security, could not upgrade it for me. So I was kind of stuck. And then upgrades. At the gate, I heard some guy saying that you can upgrade for $35. And that happens all the time. No, it does not. It's only on short leg trips. Or if you have points, sometimes you can use points and then just pay a little bit extra. The upgrade cost varies on the length of the flight and how far you're going. So I have seen upgrades as cheap as 30s, but very rarely. It's usually in the 60s, and sometimes it's in the thousands, depending on how long your flight is. Because the longer the flight, the more of those first-class tickets they've sold, because people want those for the long flights. TSA pre-checked. Did get bungled up on this last flight. I passed the TSA pre-check entry. I was looking for general entry. Thought I went into the second opening. I thought I was in the right place. That was somehow it was TSA pre-check line. And the first guy scanned my ticket, was going to make me go back and get in line again. bless his heart, there was a guy 2 lanes down with TSA that did go ahead and let me through, because otherwise it's going to be quite a walk and a lot of circling, and it was 4 in the morning. I was exhausted. So do watch those crazy TSA pre-check signs if you're not pre-check, because a lot of them won't check you in if you get in the wrong line. You got to go on down, and the general tickets are usually past the pre-check lines a ways. In Vegas, the signage was not good. Deplaning, there was an issue and people were kind of a little upset on the plane. New novice travelers just don't know. You exit just like you would a wedding or a funeral. The first rows go first, and then the second, and then the third, all the way to the back. If you have a really tight connection, you tell the people in front of you and pass the word. You got a tight connection, and you got to get off so you don't miss your flight. But kind of just speak up and tell people. There was some people that were hopping up and trying to get out, and the neighbors were a little upset if you just mention that that's what you're doing. And that happened on another flight. A little boy, another parent was further ahead, and he was trying to get that parent. And so we just asked what was up, if he was lost or looking for somebody, and he said his parent was up ahead, so everybody let him pass. It was not a big deal. Just communication and manners. Tagging the bags, I went over that. They're not going to let you check your bag in unless it's tagged when you do the bag drop. And in Vegas, the bag drop signs are not really clear. And as long as it's not crowded, it's not a big deal. But you always want to try to look for the numbers. They have them numbered number 1 and number 2. Number 1 is usually ticketing. Number 2 is usually the bag drop. Oh, and then another thing people may know, may not, is there is what's called Park and Fly. And I didn't realize it was available in Billings. But what you do is you talk to the hotel. And a lot of times if you get at least one night, they'll let you leave your car in their parking lot, and they will shuttle you back and forth to the airport. Because the parking for like my Vegas trip that I was just on, I was gone 2 weeks, and my parking it's $25 a week. So mine was like over $50 for parking. So, and most rooms, if you're going to be gone more than 2 weeks, it's just as good as you got a room to stay the night before, and you've got a shuttle service, and you got breakfast. So the Park and Fly can be a really good deal. I'd used it in Kansas City before. I'm not sure where else I've used it, but it is pretty handy because you got a room, you got breakfast, and you got a shuttle. Anyway, those are just some travel tips. And if I come across other issues in an airport, I figure if one person has it, maybe there's 2 or 3 that have it. And as far as traveling, I'm going to be the rest of this year, I'm going to have Hawaii, Missouri. And then where else am I going? I think that's it. Some local town stuff. Then next year, I'm thinking about Finland, and then Hawaii, and then Florida. So I'll be just doing some travel videos thrown in with my crochet, my vendor events. And anyway, that's the update. Thank y'all.